This is a story about how bots invaded the internet and changed the world forever. A sordid espionage tactic is being reinvented online to catch a new type of foe. Researchers have turned to digital honeytraps in a bid to discover how far automated bots have spread across social media and the internet. A lot less sexier than the heart-racing plot of your typical spy movie, the method involves setting up attractive social media accounts and luring and monitoring malicious behaviour. The method differs from other detection tactics, including allowing social media users to report bad behaviour and hyperlink monitoring, just by way of two examples. These systems can be easily gamed as spammers, so-called content polluters, and influencer bots become more and more sophisticated by embracing adaptive strategies. The stakes of this game are massive. Manipulation of social media networks has led to real-world violence, sent the stock market crashing, and has allowed terrorist groups to spread their propaganda to millions of people. For the US, long engaged in the war on terror, social bots have become a national security issue worthy of its own investigation. Throwback to early 2015. The high-risk, high-impact Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, otherwise known as DARPA, and the US Army had a 4-week-long competition into the phenomenon. This was part of its wider social media and strategic communications initiative led by Dr. Rand Waltzman. 2 of the 6 teams would use honeypot gleam data to try and successfully identify 40 influencer bots that they were hitherto blind to. Despite the so-called Trojan team from the University of Southern California achieving 100% accuracy in detecting the influencer bots, another group, Centimetrics, came out on top of the competition. That is because they scored 39 out of 40 guesses correct and completed the task 6 days before the other competitors. Indiana University found all of the influencer bots in the same time as Southern California, but made 7 wrong guesses. There was one big technical takeaway for the top 3 teams from the challenge. Machine learning techniques alone were insufficient in hunting down influencer bots. That is because there was a lack of training data for the AI algorithms to test and refine themselves against. That meant unsupervised learning, where machine learning programs are left to find their own patterns, wasn't an option to start with, and the researchers turned to other techniques, including clustering algorithms and online prediction strategies. The other major outcome of the project was the coming together of the University of Southern California and the University of Indiana teams, a move which was extremely insignificant at the time but could eventually decide the future of Twitter, its hundreds of millions of users, and how we view online discourse and social media companies forever after. Bots, spammers and fake accounts have existed since the start of social media, and today it has been claimed that bad bots make up anywhere between 27.7% and 40% of all internet traffic. MySpace had its own tanglings with them, and Facebook tries to combat them to this very day. For Twitter, founded in March 2006, it was merely a matter of time before this software-driven nuisance would dog the platform. One of the earliest acknowledgements of the problem came in 2008 when Twitter co-founder Biz Stone sounded the alarm on spam, announcing a range of countermeasures the platform would introduce. Those included making it easier to suspend accounts, increase user participation in alerting Twitter to spammers, and the formation of an anti-spam team. The issue became very public in 2009 when an American baseball coach sued Twitter after a disparaging account was set up under his name. Soon the blue tick verification system was introduced and a report as spam button came later that year, as well as a promise to continually evolve its tools to help fight spam and bots. In Washington, meanwhile, there was a historic changing of the guard, with the first election of President Barack Obama to the White House. It was the first US presidential election campaign to be in the social media era, with Obama having more than 23 times more followers on Twitter than Republican rival the late John McCain. The true size of Twitter's bot problem wouldn't be revealed until more than a year after Obama's re-election, as part of the company's IPO process in 2013. That October, the business filed an S-1 form with regulators, the SEC, effectively serving as a prospectus for current and potential investors. The good, bad and the ugly financial sides of businesses must be disclosed in S-1 forms. It's under this system that Twitter estimated that false or spam accounts represented less than 5% of the platform's monthly active users. The IPO got away, with Twitter listing on the New York Stock Exchange rather than the tech-heavy Nasdaq in November that year. Twitter priced its shares at $26 each, rising by more than 73% to $44.90 on the first day of dealings, given the company's market cap of $31 billion. It would be months until trouble began to brew again for the company. 2014 saw Russia's invasion of Crimea. There was a renewed media and political focus on how the country was manipulating social media networks, as well as a growing realization that terror groups, most notably ISIS/the Islamic State, were increasingly using social media platforms to spread their propaganda. Twitter, meanwhile, was forced to deny reports in August 2014 that up to 8.5% of its monthly active users, amounting to 23 million accounts at the time, were bots. Twitter stressed this was down to false media interpretations of an SEC filing, which stated that in the 3 months ended June 30th, 2014, approximately 11% of all active users solely used third-party applications to access Twitter. But these reports caught the eyes of DARPA's social media and strategic communications team already around 3 years into its work. They started advertising for its latest competition, the initiative where the University of Southern California and Indiana University teams would compete and crucially meet at the start of 2015. Flash forward 2 years to 2017, when new figures from the universities claimed that between 9% and 50% of accounts on Twitter were fake. This would amount to 48 million accounts. This report couldn't have come at a politically worse time for Twitter, since Donald Trump's surprise election to the White House in late 2016 put an even sharper focus on social media platforms and their role in the public sphere. Obama's use of the platforms may have been charming and savvy, but Trump's embrace of the social media platforms was seen as worrying, so the media narrative went. It was in this context and amid claims of further Russian meddling with social media that the powerful US Senate Select Committee on Intelligence launched its own investigation. Facing a grilling from Republican chairman of the committee Richard Burr, Twitter's then acting general counsel, Sean Edgert, was quizzed on the 15% bot estimate. Edgert repeated the less than 5% internal estimate from Twitter, whilst questioning the researchers' so-called botometer approach. The committee's final report, published in October 2019, went on to conclude that the Russians did attempt to interfere in the 2016 US elections via social media platforms, using bots as part of their tactics. By 2020, however, the matter seemed somewhat settled. There was no large public discourse around social media bots. Trump had left the White House, Biden was now in charge. Then, in 2022, along came Elon Musk. Musk's $43 billion all-cash consideration for Twitter in April 2022 looked like it would face resistance from Twitter's board, but they later sided with the Tesla CEO. But the whole deal was later put into question by Musk himself, when he claimed, without citing any references, that 20% of all Twitter accounts were fake or spammers. My offer was based on Twitter's SEC filings being accurate, Musk said. Yesterday, Twitter's CEO publicly refused to show the proof of the less than 5% claim. This deal cannot move forward until he does. Though much was made of Musk's true motivations behind the tweet, Whether the billionaire was using this as a negotiating tactic to get a better price for the platform or not, it is still unclear how Twitter came to the less than 5% figure. It's an estimate that has been doing the rounds since at least 2013. As the company has declared previously, transparency is core to the work we do at Twitter. The platform obviously has since rebranded under Musk's leadership to X, and once again the bot issue has slipped out of the limelight. Perhaps we will just never know the extent of the bot infiltration.